swap so I can actually see them. Good evening, friends. Wow, that was deep and meaningful. Good evening and welcome to this Thursday night's Littleport Christian Spiritualists, live on Facebook and YouTube, so please do not swear too much, and streaming throughout the world for everyone to see. So really, no, seriously, please do not swear. The microphone might pick your voice up if you do, so we get in trouble, but you'll be never seen on camera. No, Barbara, it's fine. That's why I get it all out at the front of the hall like earlier. Now, there's a story for the Christmas blooper reel. But good evening and welcome, everyone. And this, of course, is a divine service of mediumship. What does that actually mean? Pretty much the same as every week. We have philosophy, we have healing, we have a reading. Thank you. At least I remembered at the beginning of the service rather than during it like last week. We have a reading. So everyone's away coming prepared. It's wonderful. And of course, we have mediumship. And tonight, we have mediumship from a very dear friend who I'm very much looking forward to chair for, considering the last 2 times I bailed out on him, as I was reminded when I worked on the door. So please give a raucous, uplifting, loving, spiritual welcome to our medium for this evening, the wonderful John Ennis. And of course, his guides, otherwise I'd be in trouble for not mentioning them. So tonight, of course, is all about connecting with loved ones, both on the earth plane and in the world of spirit. Because it's important to remember that we are the living spirit. And one thing that the living spirit does when it gets together in more than 2 or 3, to gather, to reach out to the world of spirit, is open in prayer. So let's join together for a moment as we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, we thank you for the opportunity to unite under a banner of love, hope and friendship, to witness your proof and your truth that life is indeed eternal. As we place this service in your care and keeping, Great Spirit, we ask that the veil be lifted, that our loved ones might step forward and show to us the continuity of life, and that love indeed is eternal. And so everything we do will be in the name of love, truth and light. Amen. To begin, we have some notices. Of course, a really, really big one. This coming Sunday at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock. I keep convincing myself that I'm wrong, so I go for the opposite one. Oh, hello. It's all right. Nobody look round. It's only Esther. So some notices. This week on Sunday at 10 o'clock. See, I've got it right. This week on Sunday at 10 o'clock, in that little hall over there, we have the White Feather Drum Healing Circle. It's going to be awesome. There'll be lots of drumming, lots of healing. And there's also a special activity as per normal as part of the process. It's £5 and there'll be tea and coffee and, water. And if I'm there, probably a bottle of Pepsi Max, but don't tell anybody I said that because I am trying to quit. But it's going to be wonderful. So if you're interested in shamanic drum healing, please have a word with anyone who looks like they spend their weekend banging drums, or Eunice, who is the circle leader, and do come along. If you've never tried it before, do come along. It is uplifting, it's healing, it's magical, it's brilliant. There are times that people will get drum healing that can barely walk, that go like Wile E. Coyote across the fields of Thetford, running away from me and Barbara. There are times that Barbara is banging away and suddenly can bend over and has been able to bend over ever since. It's amazing what drum healing can do. Same difference. But it's in my world anyway, but there you go. It's a grammar issue. You know. Now, my grandma could bend over as well, but she'd always break the hoover. In actual fact, she did one time, and my mum moved a chair, she went to sit on it, and legs up in the air. She was bent over, but back to front. Now, that's another story for another day too, but there we go. That is that. Now, of course, the next workshop isn't until next year now. And guess what? This is the penultimate service of 2023. You could sound more disappointed than that, for God's sake. That's better. See, they're so well trained here, isn't it? The medium for next week is, well, me. I asked for that bugger, didn't I? See, at least they were as sympathetic. Oh, you just grinned your snout up. Yeah. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I'm all right. You know. The irony is Barry is the quietest one tonight. It's usually him that gets away with it. Absolutely. You've been running around all week saying, do this, do that. I know. But no, in all seriousness, this is the penultimate service of 2023. We have got one more left, and then we're back in January. And I want to thank you all for your support, your upliftment, and your joy that has not only helped me, but each other. And as I segue sideways into the philosophy bit, it really is important about supporting each other. And I know it's been a tough year. And I know that there's this view that come January the 1st, the clock is reset and it's going to be a good one. Well, I'm sorry. It's only a piece of time on a clock. There is a time in the world where you are able to reset and start again. And it's not once a year. It's every day. When the dawn rises, you can cast off the events of yesterday and start again anew, free from the fetters of the mistakes of the past. But we are spiritualists. We are, many of us in the room today, mediums. Some of you might not consider yourselves some, but you are. Isn't it interesting that the two people that was directly aimed at are sitting in perfect alignment for me right now? But the point is this. We are spiritualists, or at the very least spiritual people, who are aware of and interested in the continuity of life. So we are aware of something that does not get reset once a year or even once a day. And that's grief. And no amount of partying or celebrations can do anything about that. But we can. This is why I say to you all, thank you for all of the upliftment and the joy that we have shared this year. Because I know that we will be there for each other next year and the year after that. And God willing, the year after that. Keeping each other on the path of upliftment, laughter and love. Because as much as I come out here, and bear in mind, I am not wearing the dog collar tonight, so that's why I'm a bit more naughty. You ain't seen nothing yet, loves, I tell you. The point is this. When we make each other laugh, uplift each other, and no, I haven't been on the sauce, Mandy. You work the platform long enough, you have eyes everywhere. And no, I'm not showing you them all. But the point, my friends, is that upliftment and laughter and love might not seem appropriate as part of philosophy. I tell you, they're most essential. Laughter, humour, fun, wittiness, even my bad jokes are much more important and better than doom and gloom and banging the same old drum. Even though I did spend 2022 saying for at least 52 times, just be kind. One of the most important things in this way of life is remembering that we are the living spirit, that we are guides and helpers and friends to each other. And as much as we enjoy the contact with the world of spirit, we should make the most of the contact we have with each other in the here and now, because this is a special gift, this physical life. And we should grab it and shake it down, empty its pockets, grab it by the ankles and turn it upside down and shake it some more, try and get all the dust bunnies out of the pockets, and hopefully a few pennies will drop out as well, and take it for every single ounce you can, because it's precious. And as much as we are able to reach out to the world of spirit and feel that love and compassion, we don't get to hug each other physically like we do down here. Especially when I come and grab people at the beginning and end of the service who don't like a hug. That's always quite fun. One of them who particularly isn't here tonight, which is a shame because I'd have definitely singled her out on that one. But the point is this, my friends. We have an opportunity to be earth angels, spiritual beings, uplifters in the here and now. One of the criticisms that our way of life gets is that we are obsessed with death. I think that's the grossest understatement of error I have ever heard. Because the one thing I know about spiritual beings and spiritualists is that we are obsessed with life and the living of it. So rather than waiting until the 25th of December or the 31st/1st of January to jump around and be an idiot and, have a bit of fun and laughter, do it now. Do it every moment between now and the dawn. And then when the dawn comes, start again and do it again all the way until the sunset. Then please get some sleep. Otherwise, I would be in trouble for not mentioning that we all have the need for sleep. 6 to 7 hours minimum, please. Otherwise, you end up a grumpy old git like I've been for the last couple of months. And trust me, it doesn't help. Rest, laugh, love, and live. That is the message I share on behalf of my friends and helpers tonight. Because although it's brief, bloody marvellous. So make use of it, take advantage of it, and live your lives every single moment with humour, silliness, daftness. And if you're thinking of a really, really difficult time, just try and think of one of my jokes, and then you'll realise that things aren't necessarily as bad as they seem. Or at least in the moment of right now. And no, I'm not going to recommend that, but I have just had I've just had a gesticulation from the back row. It's nice to see you three back together again. Saying, and don't forget that. And you know what? As someone who doesn't partake very often, if you do over the festive period, do it with moderation and care, but have one for me. And you on the back row, you can have all of what I would have had, I'm sure, anyway. So live your lives with joy, because as much as it can be a burden sometimes, we are better for the experiences that we have had. It wouldn't hurt so much if they weren't so good. So I'll leave that with you and say, God bless you all, and thank you for listening. Darrell, lovely cup of tea. Now I know why I do. Minister of Tea. It's all right. Sidetracked. Train of thought lost. There we go. Thinking of some ideas there. Well, friends, now is the time in our service when we have a reading, and somebody has prepared it. And so I will now say, please bring forward yourself and give uprising welcome to Ennis. And no, I haven't been drinking. I'm just happy for a change. There you go.
Thank you. Right, tonight I haven't written this myself. I've pinched it from somebody. And the things that have happened during this week really relate, I think, to some of this. It was written by Mother Teresa. People are often unreasonable, illogical, self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you may win false friends and true enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway. What you spend years building can be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, they may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today may well be forgotten tomorrow, but do good anyway. Give the world the best you have. You may never have enough. Give it anyway. You see, the final analysis is in between you and the Great Spirit. This is not you and them anyway. Thank you.
Well done, Pete. Thank you. Wise words indeed. Wise words indeed. Fabulous. Thank you, Eunice. And so now I'm going to shut up again for a few minutes. Oh, nobody cheered. Thank God for that. I must be improving. I'm going to hand over to Tony. We're going to have our healing. We're going to do it slightly different this week, so I'll let him explain it. So, ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Tony.
Thank you. It's turning into the Eunice and Tony show. Yes, slightly different. Those of you who would like some healing, don't be shy. Put your hands up now, please. Right. Healers sitting amongst you, you know where to go. And you can decide amongst yourselves who goes where and why. You all got somebody? Yeah? Okay. Just a few words before you start, as ever. Those of you that, like me, follow this way of life will know that love, light, enlightenment, and healing are most important. So, Great Spirit, please let your power flow through our healers to those that need it, and do it now. Thank you. Thank you, healers. Just bring yourselves back. And as I say every week, thanks to those of you that asked for two reasons. Firstly, it takes a lot of courage. And secondly, we'd all look idiots if you didn't.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony and the healing team. Yeah, that worked better. We'll do that every time now. That's how it. I know. I was giving him the eye. Don't worry. No. And I was looking at him as well. Well, friends, now is the time. Oh, hello. Now I can actually see you. That's better. Right, now is the time in our service when we are going to hand over to the wonderful John and his mediumship guide team. And so, please, should he come to you, please answer in a clear voice, yes, no, don't know. Because let's face it, we're all nosy and want to know what's going on. And as we've got someone in the room this week who I've never seen before, I get to say this with joy. Should the curtains start twitching and the chairs start skidding across the floor, you can follow me. I'll be the first one out because we don't do that here. Well, I don't know. John likes to break microphones. That's about as physical as it gets on a Thursday night. I've got my eye on you, boy. But do have an uplifting and wonderful evening. Please send your love to John throughout and give a big Littleport welcome for around about the next 55 minutes. Our medium for tonight, the lovely John Ennis. Just keep it going while I wire him up.
Okay. For all of you watching online, you might lose me in a few minutes, so don't worry about it. As Nick said, I've got a habit of breaking microphones, and it's not me, it's them upstairs. So we'll see what happens. Right. All those of you who have seen me religiously for God knows how many years, you're perhaps wondering, you don't normally dress like that. Well, I'm afraid I do because it's December. Once remembrance, Sunday's out the way, my lot want me to put my Christmas jumpers on and my Christmas shirts on, but I make them wait till the first Sunday of Advent. And that's why I'm dressed like this. And it's the only month in the year that you'll see me without a suit when I'm doing mediumship. Is there anything different? I'm still as daft as a brush. I'm a little bit older, I'm a little bit fatter, but hey, aren't we all? And it's no good laughing at me because you'll all be fatter than me come January anyway. Right, so all I need from you is please just think outside the box because I can't guarantee who's going to come through for you tonight. So we'll just see what happens and we'll see where we're going. Can I go? Oh, I've got fighting now. Can I go to this lady? Yeah, I don't have to. As I'm with you, there is a gentleman, but I'm letting the lady come forward first. In fact, there's two ladies coming in for you. The first lady is about 5'4", 5'5". She's quite a rounded lady, as I see her. My feet are swelling up, so I know that she would have had like fluid retention in her lower legs and in her feet. But she says it never stopped her. And this lady was on the go all the time. And she's one of these ladies, she knows that there's 2 4 o'clocks in a day, 2 5 o'clocks in a day, and 2 6 o'clocks in a day. She says the only problem is, she says the younger generations now, she says there's only ever 1 6 o'clock or 1 7 o'clock. She says because they like the beds too much. But she's saying you can be like, she says you should be like that. She says, but you're burning the candle at both ends at the minute. And she says you need to be making more time for yourself. She says it's all right running around making sure everybody else is all right. She says, but you need to make sure you're all right yourself. She says, because if you don't look after yourself, she says, then you can't help others. And you like helping people. But she says, oh, okay. She says, yes, you're still going to be helping right up till Christmas. She says, and you're going to be helping a lot of people next year as well. But she says, you need to pace yourself a lot better. And she says, never be embarrassed to say no. And if you don't want to say no, just say, oh, I've not got my book with me. I'll get back to you. And then that gives you that bit of breathing space. So you can make your own mind up. But she comes through to you with a great deal of love and a great deal of strength for you. and she's very proud of what you've achieved in your life. But she says, equally, she says she's very proud of how you've helped the family mature and how you help the family move forwards. She says, because it hasn't, for some of them, it hasn't been an easy time. She says, but you help them no matter what. The other lady, as she comes in now, she's about 5'7", 5'8". She's quite a slim lady, as I see her. She obviously, this is very important because she says, I've got to tell you, my hair is back to normal, because she likes her hair done nicely. What she's telling me is that towards the end, she said she'd have been all right if she could have had her hair done. But she says, they were filling me with pills and they were doing this and they were doing that. She said, all I wanted was my hair washing. But that's the sort of lady that she was. She took a lot of pride in her appearance. But also at the same time, she never overly dressed. Because it's a weird thing for her to say. She says, I knew my place in life. She says, and although I could have thought I was better than others, she says, I wasn't. She says, because we're all the same. She says, it's just we go about life in a different way. And she said, you're the same. She says, in actual fact, she says, your problem is, she says, you don't like accepting praise. And she says, you need to accept praise. She says, because sometimes that's the only thing that others can give you. So she says, just let them give you as much praise as they want to. Also, as well, she's making me very aware. I don't know if you've got problems with your back, but she's saying, will you let people help you in the garden? Well, she says, you've got plenty of youngsters around you. She says, if they want to come to yours for food and drinks, they've got to earn it. So she says, give them a shovel, give them a fork, give them a spade, a trowel, get them in the garden and say, right, you've got to do a couple of hours work for me. She says, you sit there in your deck chair having a nice cold drink while the water's running off of them. But she's saying, yeah, just manage your time a lot better next year. She says, and then you won't feel as tired, because sometimes you get to the middle of the week and you're absolutely burnt out. So she says, just manage your time a little bit better. But the two ladies, as I say, that so much love coming to you from them. The gentleman very quickly is about the same height as me, about 5'8", maybe 5'9". He's got, in his younger days, he would have had very, very dark hair. I do see a lot of grey flecks as he gets older. He's thinning on top, but he's not completely bald. He's got a wicked sense of humour. He's a little bit, shall we say, well, with it, what you see with him is what you get. And he's got no airs and graces. And I'm just asking him to behave himself. And he's going, yes, he says, I won't drop any P's or Q's in the wrong place, he says, to upset you. But he just comes in to give you that extra strength and some extra support at the minute, because he says he can see what you're doing, and he's telling me to say to you that you have got his blessings. But also at the same time, he says, there is people in the family who just need you to put your arms around them and just give them a cuddle and just say everything will be all right. And what he's telling me is, he says, coming from you, they will accept it, where they wouldn't accept it from others. And he's just saying you should be very proud of what you've achieved, and you should be very proud of what you can achieve looking forwards as well. So he says, it's no good looking back, you can't change it. He says, it's all about moving on. So I'm going to leave from the three of them a great deal of love, strength and support with you, and say thank you very much. Can I go to the other lady in blue now, please? Christmas tree. Right. As I'm with you, cool, blimey, stop arguing. You must have a gang of them upstairs. Well, they're all coming in. I'm saying form a queue. They went, no. And they're all arguing with each other because they all wanted to have a chat with you. And I'm saying, whoa, slow down. You at the back, come forward. It's all right. I've got a little lady at the back in spirit. and she's quite a quiet lady. The others are very high-pitched squealers. But I'm letting the little lady come through because she's quite quiet. And as she comes in, she says, I just want to put my arms round her and give her a cuddle. And I just want to tell her everything's going to be all right. She says, it's not Halloween, you know. She says, it's nearly Christmas. She says, you're supposed to be happy and have a smile on your face. She says, the only trouble is, she says, the people who are closest to you actually know that you're not happy. She says, and it's no good putting that smile on. She says, because they all know you too well. So she says, you can't get away with it. She says, strangers, look at, oh, I wish I could be like her. Look at her. She's always got a smile on her face. She says, but those that are closest to you know who the real you is. But she's saying, okay, she's just saying, take a deep breath and take each day as it comes. Because she's saying, slowly but surely, you're getting stronger. She says, and you'll carry on getting stronger. But she does come through, as I say, with a lot of love. She's making me very aware also that this is a little bit out of character for her. Because she could be quite a strong lady and she could be quite a domineering lady at times. But she wants you to see that other side of her. Not everybody got to see. But as I say, there is a lot of love from this lady for you. There's another lady who steps forward now, and I'm going to say it's an auntie rather than a mother or a grandmother, but very, very similar in appearance to yourself, facially wise. But that's where the similarity between the two of you ends, because she can be very strict and she can be very stubborn. She's saying, you're not stubborn, but when you know you're right, you will dig your heels in. But she says, you're also very flexible. You listen to other people's opinions as well, not just your own. And she says, because of that, she says, people love you and respect you for who you are. And they'll carry on loving you and respecting you. They're also telling me about a younger female around you. So I don't know if it's a daughter or, come on, it's either a daughter or a niece, because I'm seeing a taller one. So it's not grandchildren down here sort of thing. So it's a taller one, so an adult. And they're just saying they're just trying to find their way in life at the minute. They're bringing about a lot of changes, but they're changes that will benefit them in the long term. So just be aware of what's going on. It's not that they're not keeping in touch with you. It's just they're bringing about these changes and they're trying to stand on their own 2 feet. And as you are a private person, they're telling me that this young lady is also quite a private person as well. But they're telling me also that she does love you to bits, but she doesn't always show it. But for you, it's just being there for them, because you're always there for them. And you don't need to tell them that you're there, because they know that you're there. And they respect you for it. I'm also being told as well that although they never ask you outright if you think they're doing the right thing, they can tell by the look on your face. And if they see that smile or a twinkle in your eye, that fills their heart with joy. And that's going to carry on being like that. There's a gentleman who comes in, he's putting his arms around you and he's telling me to say to you that he's sorry. And I said, what do you mean? He says, I went over here a lot earlier than I should have done. But he wants you to know how much he loves you. And he says, he'll always love you. And he says, he'll always be there for you. I'm not saying that this gentleman smoked, but he's given me the smell of cigars. Now, if you get the smell of cigar smoke around you, and I'm being told you've had it a couple of times in the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's him letting you know that he's there. And he's saying he's never very far away from you, and he's always there to give you that strength and to give you that support. But he's saying sometimes we have to bend within the breeze. So he says there's a time to be strong, but then there's a time to accept help. But there's also a time to accept change as well. So he says, okay, he says, although you want change, you're not always open to change. He says, because you like familiarity and you like to be surrounded by everything that you know. So he's saying, in a good way, not a bad way, but he says, God, next year is going to be a big challenge for you because you're going to be taken out of your comfort zone. Yeah. And there is going to be a lot of changes around you. So on the home front, on the work front, on the friends front, on the family front, everything's changing. But it's all changing for the better. And you've just got to go with it and ride with it. Very, very quickly, you'll see that in the longer term, it is benefiting you. So from all of them in spirit, because they're still here and they're not going, I'm going to say thank you very much, and I'm going to leave that with you for now. Thank you. Can I go to the lady with, I don't know what colour it is, with the stars on, please? As I'm with you, I've got a lady coming, two ladies coming in for you. Now, the first lady who comes in, she's quite a youngish lady, as I see her, and she just comes in and she just wants to put her arms around you. And she's going, never be afraid. She says, and never be afraid to say no, and never be afraid to tell people what you see and what you know. She says, because you're your own worst enemy. She says, you second guess everything. And she says, you've got to stop second guessing everything. Oh, hang on, I'm getting stuck here a minute. Are you related to the lady on the end, or is she your mentor? Yeah, your mentor. Right. All I can say is it's a good job it's not me or him that's your mentor, because you would have had a slap by now. She's too gentle on you. That's why I stopped doing workshops. You need to listen to what this lady's telling you. Your trouble is you keep going, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. What does that big word mean? It doesn't matter what the word means. He'll tell you, I come out with some great big words. I come out with all these Jewish words. I ain't got the Scooby-Doo what they're all on about. But it's the person who's receiving the message that will understand it, not you. You're not meant to understand it. Your trouble is you let this interfere with this. You've got to stop. Okay? Right. Now, this lady is also telling me that there is changes for you on the work front as well. And these changes are all positive changes, but this time, don't take whatever's offered. Put enough irons in the fire and you will get the job that you want. I've got to rewind back to when you were 17, 18 years of age and you had one dream of a job. You can still do that job. You're not too old, because age is just a number. If you've got the drive and you've got the determination, you can do it. All right? And it's just about, it's a weird word, it's about you applying yourself. If you don't know what it means, don't ask me, because I don't know. I'm not that intelligent. So it's just about applying yourself. And the more you apply yourself, the more you'll achieve what you want. Financially, things are slowly starting to improve for you, and that will carry on. I'm not saying you can go out and treat yourself to a bottle of champagne for Christmas or anything like that, but I'm just saying financially wise, it's going to gradually start to improve for you. The gentleman who wants to come in, and I am going to bring him in, and he's a different gentleman to the one that came through for you to start with, because as this gentleman comes in, I'm getting a lot of discomfort on the left-hand side of my chest, so I know that this gentleman had issues around the heart area. And he's quite a tall man. I mean, I'm 5'8", he's about 5'9", maybe 5'10". He's quite stockily built, as I see him. He's showing me that he's tanned. That's for me, not for you. That shows me he would have worked outside for the majority of his life. And he, okay. It's all right, he's telling me to look at my hands. His hands are very, very big. In fact, his hands are about 3 times the size of mine. If I had my way, I'd call them shovels. He says, no, they're hands, mate. And as this gentleman comes in, he's telling me he classed himself as a jack of all trades, but a master of none. He says, but the women in the house had never let him rewire a plug. He says, because he always did it the wrong way. He says, he'd blow everybody up. But he's saying, you can apply yourself to most things in life. The only problem is, he says, you don't always trust yourself. And he says, you need to trust yourself. Got to bring this lady into it again. She's not building your trust up. She's not building your confidence up. She's showing you and telling you what she can see. So you need to listen to that. And if you listen to that, you'll go a long way. Your trouble is, I'm not going to open it up too much. All I'm going to say is, in the past, you've always been put down, and that's what you always remember. Now you're surrounded by some very good people, very supportive people, but you don't believe what they're saying. You're just waiting for something bad to happen. And there's no bad. You're surrounded by lovely people. I know what the gentleman's saying. He says it's the old adage. He says you can't choose your family, but you can choose your friends. He says, your friends are a lot better than the family at times. He says, and they'll always be there to support you. They'll always give you that guidance and they'll always give you that support. So he says, never doubt what they're giving you, and equally, never be afraid to give them that affection that you've got locked in here. He said, because what he's saying is, they know you've got it inside you. It's just you doubt yourself. And he says, there's no more knockbacks. He says, in actual fact, he says, you're going to get pushed between the shoulder blades because we're going to push you forwards, not pull you backwards. So it's about you enjoying life to your maximum. So I'm going to leave all that with you for now and say thank you very much. Can I go to the lady with the, I don't know, grey, brown, yeah, the orange hair, pink hair. As I'm with you, I've got 2 gentlemen coming through for you. These 2 gentlemen are total opposites. The first one, as he comes in, now, I'm not being funny when I say it. This is what they're both telling me to say to you. Husband number 1 is coming in and he just wants to put his arms around you. And he just wants to say, it's getting better. And it's one day at a time. He's going, and stop worrying about the girls. He says, the girls are a law unto themselves. He says, but everything's going to work out fine for both of them. And he's saying, for the granddaughter, sorry, I'm just making, yes, his granddaughter, your granddaughter, he says, she's going to go a long way. She's a little bit of a madam at the minute, but he says, all girls are madams. He says, and he heard the stories from your family about what you were like when you were growing up. So he says, just rewind the clock a little bit and you'll know where she's getting it from. He says, your 2 girls are saints compared to your granddaughter. He says, don't worry about it. Everything will be fine. I don't know why when this gentleman comes in, he always gives me songs and I'm not singing any of them to you. Right. I've already said that. Okay. Do you remember the song One Day at a Time? He's singing that to you. But I said, I've already said that. He says, yeah, but there's other words in that song that have more meaning to you than they would to anybody else here. I've also got to give you Jim Reeves. I've got to give you Gene Pitney. God, right, is he? Oh, okay. I thought it was a woman. Billie Holiday. I don't know if you understand it. I thought it was a woman, but I don't know. I've got to give you, it's not, but it's a copy. Slim Whitman used to play guitar, and he had a creamy come beige guitar with like a marble guard where the fingers go. This gentleman's telling me he had a copy of it. He did. Oh, blimey, I thought I was going loopy. Yeah, he's telling me he had a copy of it. And he's telling me, he says he's got it upstairs. And he says he still plays it. He says, the only thing is, he says, this thing still doesn't work properly. He says, them three fingers and my thumb, he says, but this little thing, he says, it just will not play to save its life. He says, I wouldn't mind. He says, I went to the doctors when I was down there. He says, I've been to all the healers since I've been up here. He says, and they still can't get it to work. I says, why? What do you mean? He says, well, it's supposed to play that note and it's up here playing that note. He says, I might as well chop it off. He says, because it's no good to man the beast. But that's what this gentleman was like, very down to earth type man. Now I'm bringing the second man in now. Now the second man, his first words to you are, sorry, but thank you at the same time. I've got to go with this gentleman, I've got to go back 5 years. And I'm saying why. He says, get the rubber out and erase the last 5 years. Well, because he says it wasn't him. He wants you to remember 5 years ago. Because he's saying we did have our good times. But he says we should have had a lot more. He does love you, but he says he can't compare to the first gentleman that come in. He says because you lost your heart to that first gentleman, and part of you went with the first one. But he says he will pop in every now and then to see you. Yeah, he'll only pop in. He's not going to hang around. He'll only pop in every now and then. Because he says the family you've got in spirit are more supportive of you than he could ever be. So he's not going to interfere in it. But he just wants you to know that he wants you to enjoy your life. He says, and enjoy having the family. He says, because he knows, same as the first gentleman, that family is very, very important to you. He says, oh, okay. Who are you? Okay. I've got a different gentleman coming in for you. He's he's not quite as tall as me. He's quite rounded in the face. He's quite rounded in the body. He's telling me, he says, I like a drink. He says, I like my food. He says, I like a smoke. I went, right. He says, so if I was down with you lot now, he says, I'd be in the doctors every week and in the hospital every fortnight because I'd be overweight and I'd be obese. He says, and this BMI thing you've got, he says, well, they haven't got one for me. He says, because I'm off the scale. But I do feel with this gentleman, he could be quite a character and he could be a laugh and a joke as well. He's saying, you've kept your character under wraps long enough. He says, you've got to let it back out again. He says, the only trouble is, he says, your girls are trying to wrap you in cotton wool. He says, and all you want to do is bang the two heads together. So he says, do it. Bang their heads together. I'm not saying you've got to do this, but this is the example he's given me. He says, you want to go to the Alps and go skiing? He says, go. He says, but don't tell them until you're getting on the aeroplane. Just tell them you're popping down to Tesco's, doing a bit of shopping on your own, and then go 2 hours later, oh, by the way, I won't be at home for the next week because I'm going on holiday on my own, skiing, and see what happens. Because he says, Dave, no, I can't say all that. That is what you'll be getting on your phone and people shouting at you and everything else. He says, the thing is, just turn it off. He says, chuck it in the bottom of your bag and leave it there for the week. He says, and just do what you need to do. He says, because he says, you do need to recharge your batteries. He says, and you do need to have a couple of hours to yourself to see what you want to do next year, where you want to be, what you want to do, where you want to go. And he says, it's totally up to you. But he is saying, as much as you enjoy the peace and the quiet up here, there's a magnet keeps pulling you back down south. And you don't know whether to go or not because it's changed so much down south. But you like the peace and quiet up here. He says, but it's your life. He says, so it's your choice. He says, but you will make the right choice. He says, because you always have done. He says, your problem is, he says, you go all the way around the houses to get where you're meant to be. He says, it's a straight line. He says, go the quick way. So from all the gentlemen in spirit, as I say, a great deal of love, strength and support to you, and I'll leave all that one with you as well. And say thank you very much. Can I come to the lady here, please, with the boots on, please? Boots. I don't know what you thought I said. Right, as I'm with you, I'm on mother's side of the family. I don't know if it's mother or grandmother, but they're both coming. Oh, I've got two of them. They're both coming in, putting their arms around you. And they're just here. They want you to know that they're here, they're helping, and they're giving you the support that you need. Yes, they've been in the house recently, and they've been making noises in the house. And they didn't mean to scare you. When you're in the house on your own and you hear all these funny noises, it's only them because you've been asking for some help and some guidance. It's just, we keep telling you, we keep putting these thoughts into your head. We keep giving you a pain in your back. We keep making your knees seize up. You're not taking a blind bit of notice of us, are you? You're still just getting on and doing what you want to do. So she says, we are there helping. Whatever the choices and decisions you've made over the last fortnight, stop doubting yourself. You've been right. And stick to your principles. I don't know what's going on at the minute, but 1 minute it's yes, the next minute it's no. Then it's yes, then it's no. We're going, go with that. And you'll make the right choice. Also for you, they're telling me that you need to look forward to Christmas. He says, because you being a Scrooge does not suit you. He says, because inside, he says, you're like Father Christmas waiting to explode. So they said, enjoy the Christmas. Let your hair down. Do whatever you need. It's whatever you need to do. Either sit there and drink a whole bottle of Baileys, or if not, just lie in the bed and drown yourself with Bing Crosby and Bob Hope films and all the soppy Christmas films. You can decide what you want, but it's all about you enjoying Christmas. And they do want you to enjoy it. I don't know if you haven't got decorations up, but they're saying, get them up. Fill the house. No, you haven't. So they're telling you, get everything, get all the sparkly lights out, everything. If you haven't got enough time to do it, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, Nick, 19. Oh, sorry, Mr. 2 at the back, 21. 21 of your family here tonight. They'll all be round your house Saturday. Not a problem. Are you a drummer? You're not? Right. When you go drumming Sunday, don't be surprised if there's only you and Barbara there. The rest will all be in your house decorating it for you. But if you invite them round, they will come round and they will do your house for you. They want you to, I've got to take you back to when you were 7, 8, 9, 10 years of age. You love Christmas. You could not get enough of Christmas. Your poor old parents will go to bed and you're up. Oh, look, Father Christmas has been. And that was it. And I go, oh, we've been up 18 hours. Ain't she going to fall asleep yet? No, you kept going and going and going. And then you just collapsed in a heap on the floor. And they want you to come back. They say everybody is a child at heart. You never grow up properly. There's always something there. I'm not saying you've got to, but they're saying if you want an action man, or if you want a Barbie, or one of them dolls that cry, or one of those dolls that look like a real baby, treat yourself to it. But more importantly, put it in a box that people won't realise and wrap it up and put your name on it and put from Santa, just so you can treat yourself. And they're saying, just go for it, just go for it. There's a gentleman who comes in now. Now, as this gentleman comes in, he's a little bit shorter than me, about 5'7". He's quite stockily built. I can see he's got a bit of a belly on him in later years, but I know that this gentleman did work very hard throughout his life. I do feel quite fragile with him, however, towards the end, because he's telling me all the plans that he had all went out the window. He says, because it doesn't matter how much planning you do, he says, if the body decides to run out on you, he says, there's not a lot you can do about it. And he's just saying, remember what Nick said at the start. So it's about enjoying each day that you're here. He says, because we never know what's round the corner. Don't get me wrong, nothing's going to happen to you, but these are his principles. He says, live for today and we'll see what tomorrow brings. He says, and if you wake up in the morning, he says, do it all again. He says, it doesn't matter if you make a fool of yourself. He says, the thing is about making a fool of yourself is, did you enjoy it? And if you enjoyed it, then you've not made a fool of yourself because it's something that you wanted to do in the first place. So he's just saying, get the real you back again. Let your hair down, he says, and go for it. He's on about a younger male in the family. So I don't know if you've got a son or a son-in-law or a grandson, but he's saying they'll always be there for you. But I feel there might be a bit of a gap between the two of you at the moment. But he says, don't worry, he says, that is all getting fixed and that is all getting sorted out. But all your children, he's saying, in their own ways, they are supportive, but they're not as supportive as they should be. But he said, don't worry about it. He said, all you need to know from us up here is that they all love you to bits. Regardless of what they say, he says, they all love you to bits and they always will. So from them in spirit to you, I'm just going to leave all that love, strength and support and say thank you very much. I'm getting a countdown clock now.
Yeah, we're not saying
I'll go to the lady with the scarf, please. As I'm with you, I've got a lady coming through for you now. As this lady comes in, she's whispering in my ear and she says, sister. I went, okay. I says, what have I got to tell her? She says, whatever possessed you to get them dogs? She says, you haven't got enough energy as it is. She says, no. Oh, good. Oh, you're one of them, are you? you're supposed to take the dogs for a walk, not the dogs take you for a walk. But she's saying, in a roundabout way, although you feel shattered, it's actually doing you the world of good because it's keeping you mobile. And she says it's going to stand you in good stead. I feel sorry for the dogs. Right, come on, give me the date properly. She's trying to give me a date, but she can't because she's laughing her head off. So what am I going to tell her? Okay. What's the date? 14th. You've only got 6 days left. Come the 20th, you've got to wrap yourself in cotton wool. Sit on the settee or stay in your bed and do not move until lunchtime on the 24th. And I'm going, why? He says, because if she's mobile from the 20th to the 24th, the chances are she'll end up in hospital for the 3rd Christmas in a row. So she's saying she doesn't want to see any harm coming to you. She says, because this Christmas, you've got to do what you were meant to do this year, but also what you were meant to do last year and what you were meant to do the year before. So the only trouble is, come about the 27th of December, the next thing you'll know, it's New Year's Eve. And you go, that day's gone, because you'll be worn out. But she's saying the 24th, 25th, 26th, just go for it. Enjoy yourself, let your hair down. But she's also saying, let those who are around you over that time treat you. She says, and you be the one who puts your feet up and let them do all the running around. But she wants you to know how much she loves you. And she says she will be around over Christmas. And she's going to keep an eye out on you. She's also saying as well, and she knows you won't take any notice of this, but she said, can you try to start slowing down next year? She says, because she doesn't want to see you burning the candle at both ends. So she says, just slow down for next year. You'll still have your fingers in lots of pies. She says, because it wouldn't be you if you didn't. Okay. She's bringing an older lady through for you. And as this lady comes in, she just wants to put her arms around you and give you a cuddle. And she says, if you ever want my help, you know, all you've got to do is ask. She says, I wasn't always there for you when you needed me. She says, but nowadays I can be. So she says, all I need is a thought and I'll be there. She's also making me very aware of a very distinctive perfume that this lady would have worn. When you get that smell, you're not going mad. It's her letting you know that she's there. And I've got a gentleman who comes through who just wants to give you a cuddle. And he's saying, you deserve to put your feet up, so make the most of it while you can. Also with this gentleman, he's given me Brute deodorant, but he's also telling me about Aramis aftershave. You understand it. Okay, right. Thursday, Tuesday and last Saturday, your eyes were a little bit watery. That was his aftershave. He says he put a little bit too much on, and that's what was making your sinuses play up and your eyes all watery and that. So he is around you, not as much at times as he used to be, but he's always there for you. So I'm going to leave all their love and strength for you and say thank you very much. Can I go to the lady with the scarf on, please? as I'm with you, I've got a lady coming in for you, and as this lady comes in, she's coming in and she's going, I'm going to say to her, I'm sorry, but at the same time, I'm not sorry. I went, why? She says, well, I always contradicted myself when I was down there, so she says, I might as well contradict myself while I'm up here as well. But I want to say with this lady, in the nicest possible way, she'd like to have her nose in everybody's business. I'm not saying you do. She says, but I do see your ears flapping. She says, because you like to think you know about everything that's going on, but you don't. No. She says, but your problem is you only hear parts of sentences and you draw the wrong conclusion every single time. So she says, listen a little bit more. But she says, for you, it's nice to see you slowed down a little bit. She says, but because you've slowed down, you've now got a lot more energy than you used to have. And she says, that's going to continue. She says, but because you're feeling stronger and fitter does not mean to say that you can go everywhere at 90 miles an hour. You need to start slowing down. Don't let her buy a mobility scooter. I'm saying why? She's bad enough on her feet. Give her one of them things. She's blind as a bat. There'll be more people from this area in hospital than anything else. It'd be her running them up and down the high street every day. And that's for letting her go into Tesco's and Sainsbury's. God blimey. So don't let, whatever you do, if you hear she's getting a mobility scooter, don't let her have one. Not unless you send her on one of these driving courses. But then you're a little bit of an evil Knievel anyway, ain't you? Yeah, you're a little bit of a daredevil. And you like pushing everything to the limits. I'm not going to give out your secrets, but all I can say is, as a young girl, you got through more bicycles than all the boys put together. Well, whatever it was, you got through more of them than the boys did. I don't know what it is. It could be your shoes, it could be your trousers. Yeah, you know that. You got through more than all the boys put together anyway. But what he's saying is, that tomboy that was inside you then is still inside you now. But your people around you, and I'm not on about family, I'm on about your friends, they appreciate you because of it. And you give everybody else the strength around you. And you can change everybody's day just by smiling at them. Or, can I say shouting at them? I'll say shouting. I won't say telling off, because sometimes you just shout at them anyway to make yourself heard. So they're just saying everything will be fine. So to you, there is a lot of, from this lady, there is a lot of love. There's a gentleman who comes in quite stockily built, about 5'7", 5'8", dresses smartly but casually, likes a good laugh and a joke, worked very hard throughout his life. He's saying, thankfully, when his time was up, it was quick and it was painless. But he wants you to know that he loves you to bits, and he'll always love you to bits. He's given me a Christmas cactus to give to you, but it's got to be a white one. Right, well, that's why he's giving you a white one, because he wants you to have a white one. And one of them red things, what, poinsettias? No, not a red hot poker. I know what one of them is, and I can say that. Poinsettia. Yeah, the only thing is with you and poinsettias, you have arguments between yourselves. One year you'll keep it, and the next year it's dead before it even gets to Christmas. Don't put so much water in it. And don't stick it on top of the radiator neither. Put it in a draft, stick it on the kitchen window ledge or somewhere like that. But I need to give you that from him as well. But as I say, there is a lot of love from this gentleman. There's a lot of strength, and I'm going to leave all that one with you and say thank you very much. Can I go to the lady with the blonde hair, please. As I'm with you, I've got a young lady who comes in and she just wants to wrap her arms around you and just wants to give you a big cuddle. And she's telling me that she's been around you for the last 3 or 4 days and she's been putting a lot of thoughts into your head. And you keep going, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing that. And she's going, yes, you are. The thing is, she's playing you at your own game. She knows. Say that again. Okay, right. You must be finished for this year. You must be finished working for this year. And you're not starting back till nearly the second week of next year. Plenty of time to get all that writing done then, isn't there? And she's oh God, this is weird. She's telling me that she was at her sister's party. No. Because she's just saying she was at her sister's party. I could end up in a lot of trouble. You might have to bail me out. Have you been drinking a little bit more than normal recently? Yes, you have. Not very I've just got to take you back to whatever morning it was, and you woke up and thought, what did I do last night? I'm not going to drink that much again. She went, I was wetting myself laughing at you. She says, you will never, ever, ever be able to call Tina Turner again. She says, because I saw your moves. But she's saying it was nice to see you, metaphorically, letting your hair down. She says, because you've been too serious for too long. And she has been, she can tell you this now, she couldn't tell you it through the year. She has been very worried about you. And she says, but this, phrase this right, dear. She's going to sound like an alcoholic. Whenever the drinking started, seriously, the real you started to come back. She doesn't want the real you disappearing again. No, she wants that real you to stay out there. And the more the real you stays out there, the more you're going to move forward earthly and spiritually next year. She's also, it's a weird one, she won't give me a name. She's bringing a Native American lady through for you. And she's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. You will be able to cope, because sometimes you doubt. And she says, don't. You will work differently, but you'll work correctly. Make sense to you? So where you're in your comfort zone for the last 6 months, they're going to take you out of that. Yeah. You will need, however, to have 2 diaries. One for at home and one for in your handbag. But make sure your handbag, one, has got everything in it that your desk diary has. Because if you don't manage your time next year, you're going to be all over the place. Importantly, you've got to put time in it for you. Yeah? But she will be around you. She's so pleased to see the real you back again as she remembers you. where it seems a strange thing for it to say. You take life seriously, but the real you doesn't show that you take life seriously. And that's what she likes. And she's actually seen that come back. And that's very important to her. So there is a lot of love from her to you. There is a gentleman also who's got breathing problems because I've got real tightness in my chest with him. And I'm going to say I've got issues in the lower stomach area with him as well, because I've got humps and bumps all over the place. And he comes in and he just wants to put his arms around you and give you a big squeeze. And he comes with a lot of love. I don't know if your other daughter takes after you or not, but what this gentleman's telling me, he said, if you want to get her something different for Christmas, tell her you'll take her to the tattoo parlour. Obviously that means something to you. Yeah? If you want one, you can have one, but you've got to take her as well. No, you don't. Just wait and see. Just wait and see. What the gentleman and your daughter in spirit is telling me is, you used to be like that. Tattoos? What do you want them for? The hurt. Now your attitude's changed. The daughter that's here is very much like you. So she can change, can't she? So if you say, I need you to come and hold my hand, and then she's there looking, will that suit me? Will that suit me? Get in the chair, quick. Tie her down, get it done. Because the more time she has to think about it, the more she'll talk herself out of it. So, also with this gentleman, he loves the fact that you are getting back out and living your life. He says it's been on hold long enough. Whatever your new venture is for next year, yes, but don't put all your eggs in one basket. Take some of your own advice. But he says you will succeed quicker than you expect it to. So from them in spirit to you, a lot of strength, a lot of love and a lot of guidance, and I'll leave that one with you as well. Pleasure. You me done? Can I just say a very Merry Christmas to you all. I've had a lot of pleasure serving Littleport this year. I don't know if this is number 4 or number 5. 5, okay. The thing is, I've been coming to Littleport as long as Nick's been coming to Littleport. And Nick hates chairing for me because the first medium he ever chaired for was me. And he made the fatal mistake of going, one more. And he couldn't get a word in edgeways, so I went over by half an hour or so, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. He said he'd never chair again. So, as I say, I've been coming here a lot of years. You've all got a very special place in my heart, and you always will have. So, hopefully, all being well, I'll see you all again next year. But please enjoy Christmas, enjoy the new year, and if you want to drink, drink. But don't drive. Thank you very much.
Right, I'm going to borrow that microphone off you while it's still working, because we seem to have... Thank you. Yes, let's talk numbers. 1998.
Good.
Yeah. 1998. It was down at the Queen Adelaide Village Hall where we first started for about 6 months before we moved to Littleport. And I stood there and I did say just one more. But of course I learned quickly and just said 15 minutes, because when you say just one more to someone like John, he'll give a message a blooming minute. And he'll say, well, you said just one more, I've managed to fit 15 in. So that is why I now never say just one more at 1:45. It's always, you got about 15 minutes, just so he can't get his own back on me. However, I've got to say, with great sadness, I have to begin thanking John by correcting him on some incorrect information that he gave from the platform.
Go on then.
Because he started by saying, we've never seen him in anything other than the suit. However, I'd like you all to draw your attention to the stage and to the screen behind you, dear. And I present Exhibit A, Halloween 2022, my petty fromage, dressed as a werewolf, no less. I had to find some excuse to show a picture of it, didn't I?
You're supposed to delete that.
I didn't. In an actual fact, the video is still on YouTube and on Facebook, and I have downloaded it just in case you know any computer programmers or hackers. But there we go. I have got a couple of notices, but just before that, another big thank you and a huge round for John, Ennis and guides. Just a couple of things. Next week, of course, is our last meeting. We've got a bit of a special treat. It's a double bubble special treat, actually. Firstly, I'd like to thank one of this year's newest ministers to the Independent Spiritualists Alliance, Sharon Sinclair. She sent us a little present, and she's donated a bit of a buffet to us, or at least the finances for a bit of a buffet. So thank you to the lovely Reverend Sharon Sinclair for that. Now, for those that weren't there or don't know, over the weekend, I went and did a bit of a house party without the alcohol. Sorry, dear. Of mediumship. And there was a beautiful buffet. It was absolutely amazing. The food was stunning. The company was amazing. And Sky didn't bark at me once. So we're giving the funds to Eunice, and Eunice is going to arrange our buffet for Christmas week. So thank you, Eunice. Because I tell you what, she can make a buffet spread like, you know, I can't even get it to go on melted toast. It's amazing. And it was absolutely gorgeous because there's a completely, I'm not hinting. I really am not hinting. But there was an absolutely gorgeous free from everything chocolate cake on Saturday. And it was delicious. You know, I actually managed to have 2 slices and didn't feel ill once because it was absolutely, pardon? I had 2. Do not tell lies. You're in church, dear. If I'd have had the opportunity to have 4, I'd have had 4, but no, it was only 2. If anybody's interested in any last-minute Christmas presents, there is we're taking donations for the table. There is the donation shop table. Again, thank you to Eileen for many of the donations, if not all, I think, that are. Is there anything that isn't Eileen's on there? No. So a big thank you to Eileen, who's probably watching somewhere online this week. Thank you to Eileen for the donations of those. Oh, we've gone a little bit out of focus. Never mind. Nice try, but it didn't work. Give it a wiggle. I don't know. Behaviour. I'm gonna say, ever since it saw the werewolf, it's got a bit scared. Hello, let me try and focus it for you. Oh yeah, it's working. There you go. And there I was thinking my face would break it. Probably. And the final note that I made for my book in all seriousness, you three at the back, don't ever change. Friends, let's join together and close this evening in prayer. As we say, Great Spirit, Father, Mother, God, we thank you for the opportunity to unite as friends under a banner of love, of friendship, under a blanket of warmth and compassion, and in a castle, a temple, a huge domain of joy, friendship, and companionship. As we take out this message and these feelings that we have shared here tonight out to the world, let us take with us that feeling and share it with each person we meet. Make a stranger smile, make someone down uplifted, and bring comfort to those in need in each day we live in this life. For we know that compassion and love is eternal. And we know that what is built endures, what is loved endures, and the human spirit and joy endures. And so until we meet again, in your name, amen. And of course, one more time, a big thank you to our medium, to our healing leader for our reading, and to each and every blooming one of you. Thank you all. Yes, I'm sure John's rather annoyed that I've just outed him as having come to Littleport for 25 years. I did have a bit of a break in between when I stepped down as the first church's president and then reopened a different one on the same night, but they moved. And I've served them a couple of times over at their most second recent home as well, because I think it's important that we spiritualists demonstrate to the world what unity is. So take that message out and live it, please. And remember, everything that John has said here tonight is about coming together and the compassion that you as a group exude every time someone walks in that door. So thank you all for that. And so now we are going to say goodnight to everyone online, because we're going to have a bit of a raffle. And somebody's going to have a bit of a dance out in the foyer by the looks of it. Keep an eye on them. Oh no, they've got raffle tickets. They won't be going joining the party. Otherwise, they probably would have gone for a boogie. But we're going to say goodnight to everyone at home, and then we're going to have a raffle. And then please, everyone, do feel free to stay for tea, coffee. There's biscuits. There's decaf of pretty much everything. I think there's even some buttermint tea as well if you're into something a bit different. But from all of us here to everyone at home, you know the drill by now. And if you don't, you'll soon catch on. After 3, 1, 2, 3. Good night and God bless you all. I knew somebody was going to do that.